Welcome to the Agents of the Unexplained podcast. From a haunted abandoned asylum to Sasquatch lurking in the dark woods and watching you, and all things unexplained, here are the stories from outside our realm. With your host, Bill Rigby.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight, I got a very special guest, a good friend, a great paranormal investigator, a great author. And I meant to dig his book out. I got it over here behind me, and I forgot to dig it out. And wait till you see his beautiful face. There he is, Mr. Ed Kellerman. He's definitely paranormal there. Good evening, Ed.
Hey, how you doing there? How's it going, Bill?
It's going good. Ed's having some technical difficulties with his camera tonight. So
there you go.
But he's definitely here. And howdy, Griff. Griff's out there watching. What we're doing. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, Ed, let me do this. Move that one out. Put this one in. There you are. I got no. Turn your mic on. All right, wait a minute. Talk.
Hello.
Okay, the voice is coming through the old one. We'll leave it at that.
Okay.
We got two Eds.
Let's see here. Well, looks like I have video on one and audio on the other one.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a haunted computer.
Yeah, we just got a little echo when you talk coming through both computers there, but that's all right. We'll deal with that. But the thing is, Ed, how long have you been researching?
Oh my God, about 30 years at least. Around 30 years. I was doing it before it was on television.
Yeah. Hey, Johnny Freeman says hi to us, guys.
All right. Hi, Johnny.
But the thing is that, we were almost neighbors several years back, and I didn't even know it. And it's like, holy shit, I lived over Mulligan Hill from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, and me and Ed started talking a few years ago, and you had some very interesting investigations.
Oh yeah.
You like to fill us in on a few of them?
Well, probably the most complicated one we did was with a young girl named Amelia. Amelia was a young black girl that was murdered in 1864 in the northwestern part of the state. And
Hermitage, Pennsylvania.
Yep, you got it. Right up in Hermitage. It was a good friend of mine's place that was haunted by Amelia. And she was murdered then, and she bided her time for a very long time before she made herself known. And she waited until a good friend of mine who was a psychic and a medium moved into that place. And the investigation took us over 6 years. We investigated numerous times over 6 years, and finally reconciled it about a year and a half or two ago. And Amelia she crossed over, but she crossed over with the caveat that she could come back, and she has come back a few times since then.
Right.
It's a real complicated case. It involved voodoo and witchcraft. Amelia, she came up through the Underground Railroad when she was very young.
Right.
and settled in northwestern Pennsylvania. She might as well have stayed down on the plantation for the way she was treated.
Exactly.
But her family, she had a family history of voodoo. Okay, now everybody has this idea that voodoo is this weird stuff that with zombies and curses and things like that. And voodoo is basically a peaceful religion for the people who actually practice it.
One second, Ed.
Yeah.
Try muting one of the mics because the echo's getting really bad.
Okay, let's see what I can do over here.
All right. Okay.
Wrong mouse. Let's see.
The one on your computer or one on your laptop?
I'm going to see if I can do the one on the computer. Come on. Okay, how's that? Still echo.
Yeah.
Okay. Try that. Still echo.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can. Let's see. Let me see what I can do here. Okay. No?
No.
I muted the one on that one. Jeez.
That sounds worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I muted that. Let me see what happens.
Mute the one with your video feed.
Okay, how's that? You know what? I have both cameras muted, and it's still coming through as an echo. I don't know where it's coming from. Let me see here. Enter full screen.
Wait a minute. Let me try something here.
Okay, how's that?
There.
Can you hear me?
I muted it.
Nope. No.
Oh.
Ooh, that's worse.
All right, speak. Nope.
Get it away from there. How's that? Is it a little bit better?
A little bit.
What I did, I moved the laptop away from the desktop computer, so they're not getting double feedback.
Okay.
And then that over there.
Yeah, that's better. Definitely better.
I
We
can
got
run the volume up a little bit so I can hear it here.
Yeah, because you was getting that feedback too. Thank
Okay,
you, Graham.
Okay. Is that better? No.
No. The laptop's giving. It's better, but it still echoes a little bit. But that's all right. We'll deal with it.
Okay. I don't know what to tell you.
It's not that bad. Not like it was.
There we go.
Griff's asking, are the speakers on the desktop or the laptop?
Coming out of the laptop now.
I'm trying to think. Griff, should he just turn? Can you hear me okay like that, Ed?
Yeah, I'm pressing. Can you hear me okay now? I took that off. I'll tell you what, I'm going to shut this other computer down.
All right.
I'm just going to shut it down. And we'll see how that works. Shutting down. Hello?
All right.
That seems a little bit better. Put this over here. Swing this around. And back there. No.
How's that?
How's that?
It'll work. It'll work, Ed. We'll let it go at that. The speakers were feedback on the headset, that Britt was saying. More than likely. You can hear me okay? And I don't hear him. Wait a minute. Ed. Ed. I don't hear you. Don't hear you. I can't hear you. Go back to the laptop. Okay. Um, now. Go back to the original. The original feed with no video. And we'll just go with that. Go back to the original so we with no video. I'll do it this way.
Hello, Bill.
Hey, go back to the original with no video.
That's what I'm trying to do. I gotta wait for this other computer to boot up.
Okay. Yeah. And then we'll just shut that one down. And we'll just do it with no video. That's all, because it's the feedback and everything else.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. What? Can you hear me now?
Go ahead, talk again.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Just on my phone. You got to bring your other one back in.
I'm still waiting for the other one to boot up. I'm sorry, guy.
That's all right. It ain't nothing but a thing. I got all evening. I'm prepared. I got this Dr. Pepper and this Dr. Pepper. I'm all set. But I'm going to speak a little bit about that sighting, Amelia. That is that a good friend of ours, yours and Johnny Freeman and myself, and Sibyl's place. And it's a very interesting story with it. You know, being a slave and voodoo's all involved. And, you know, I don't know if people believe in voodoo or not, but it's a real thing. It's a religion. And it's very, very interesting. And I can say another thing about Mr. Ed. When I asked him to be a speaker at my event, my very first one, he didn't hesitate. He said yes right away. And that made me excited. And it was after that I found out we were almost neighbors. It's like, really? New Florence? I go to my wife and said, Ed lives in New Florence. She said, Ed who? I said, Ed Kellerman, the one that's going to be on my show, in my conference, going to be talking at the conference. She went, really? I went, yeah. She was shocked. And she said, you didn't know him? You seemed like you knew everyone from New Florence. I said, no, there was a lot I didn't know. But anyhow, with that being said, he has written several books. Let me see if I can grab that one of mine. There it is. A Devil's Dozen. It's called by Ed Kellerman. I knew it was close. Okay. His video's gone.
Can you see me now? Can you hear me?
Can
Can
you
you
hear me?
hear me?
No.
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. I can barely hear you. Let me see if I can bring up the volume here.
There, how's that? I'll move up closer to my mic.
Come on.
Griff just asked, are you going to Marionville this year, Ed?
No, I missed the cutoff on the
The signing.
I missed the vendor cutoff. There we go. Okay, how's that? Can you
That's
hear me?
good. Yes, that's good.
Okay.
Hey, we're a bit here. I'm hanging up the phone.
Okay, good.
Okay, here we go. Out, let's go lay down. You can't have the book.
All right. I can barely hear anything here.
All right, I'll try to talk louder.
Why? Hold it. It's coming through my headphones. All right,
Yeah.
hold on. There
All
we
right,
go.
how's that? Is that better?
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay, now we got it together. Well, Miss Virginia, how are you?
Hello.
Like I said, here's his book, A Devil's Dozen.
This isn't working.
What's going on?
Oh, boy. Let's see if I pull this out. Hello, 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 hello.
We hear you.
Okay, because I don't hear me. But I hear you. All right.
We're good to go.
Okay.
Hey, does this look familiar, Ed?
Oh, yeah. That's got Amelia's picture right there on the cover. She's the featured one on the cover. And that's The Devil's Dozen. That's my newest book. That's 12 of our most interesting paranormal investigations that we've done over the last few years.
Yes.
Now, I'd like to say one thing about paranormal investigations, though. Okay?
Yeah.
What I want to say is that there is no two paranormal investigative groups that investigate the same way. Okay? And there's no right way, there's no wrong way. There's only the way that works for you. And if whatever you're doing is working, stick with it. And but there's no wrong way of doing a paranormal investigation. Everybody has different abilities, and they have different synchronicity to certain tools. I knew one person that was absolutely fantastic with a K2 meter. Could carry on conversations with spirits and everything else with a K2 meter. On the other hand, I had another person I work with is fantastic with a digital recorder. They can get EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon. They can get EVPs that I can't get because they have this affinity towards the tool. And myself, I prefer two things. I prefer is a digital camcorder and my dowsing rods. I get a lot of, that's how I work with that. Yep, there you go.
My spirit box.
Yep, that's your K2 meter. Well, spirit box, I'll tell you what. I have friends that work with a spirit box. They get the most fantastic, unbelievable results. I work with a spirit box. I might as well be carrying around a paperweight.
Yeah.
I get nothing through my spirit box.
My K2.
Yep, my K2. I love my K2 and my digital recorders. But the best thing that I have that I work with is I work with a pair of psychics that are really talented. Oh, here's another one. Here you go. You got all your tools out on your desk, huh?
Right on the side desk here.
There
And
you go.
and I actually take this stuff Bigfooting with me too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went. It's funny thing. I went on a Bigfoot investigation at Bushy Run Battlefield.
Whoa.
And I wound up doing a paranormal investigation. we were down there with Ops, Oakmont Paranormal Society, Drake Bowen and his people, and it worked out really good. But I started taking pictures. I wanted to get a picture of a witness tree down there. That was, the tree that was there during the battle. And I wound up, when I downloaded the computer, I got a shot right through a portal. And
wow.
And you could count more than 12 spirits on the other side that were like waiting to use the portal.
Well, I know. I went with Ghost Chick to the Butler, the old Butler VA hospital.
I remember when you were going down there. How'd that work out?
Oh my God. We were just supposed to do a walkthrough and then go back and do the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
That was a 5-hour walkthrough.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know what you mean.
Honest to God, activities on all 5 floors, the basement and the sub-basement. In one room, I think it was a portal, and it was a little short room, and it sounded like a party going off in there through the one spirit box. Different ones speaking through that. And it's like, whoa. Whoa. But every floor, Ed, every floor. I was totally amazed.
I've had similar experiences like that. Probably the most haunted place we have ever investigated is the Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania over in Strasburg. We just guess 8,000 to 10,000 spirits. Now, that being said, all but about 3 of them are what we call residual haunting. You cannot interact with the spirit. You can't interact with them. It's almost like looking at a hologram.
Right.
But there's at least 3 good, solid, active spirits there. It's really funny when I walked in there with my psychic cat. Okay, she stopped dead inside the door and said, "Look at all the people." Now, I'm not psychic. I didn't see any. I see trains. She sees all the people. She saw literally hundreds of people getting on the trains, off the trains, milling about, walking about. And then she started describing to me the various uniforms that the soldiers were wearing that were getting on and off the trains. And she was describing uniforms from right after the Civil War, the Spanish-American War, World War I, and she had them down pat. And this is stuff that she never learned in school.
Wow.
She described these uniforms perfectly. And,
that is awesome.
Yep. And then, but working with the other psychic, Beverly LaGorga, I've been working with her for years. And that's who it's a funny way we got into that museum is I had written a book called The Haunted Railroads of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And, and I like to make a living. So I was huckstering the book for their gift shop. And the gift shop there bought a few copies of the book. And the lady said, the curator would like to speak to you. And, I went to school way back in the 50s. That was like the principal wants to speak to you.
Yeah, exactly.
What the hell did I do, And so I go to see a curator, and the curator says, we've been having a little paranormal difficulty here. Would you be interested in conducting an investigation? And on the outside, I said, yeah, I think we could do that. On the inside, I'm going, yes. And the problem they had, there's an engineer called number 1187. It goes back, way back. And people would tour the museum, and on the way out of the museum, they would stop at the ticket and congratulate the people at the ticket to congratulate the museum on the fantastic reenactors they have there. They said, and that engineer and that fireman on engine 1187 are so authentic, they even have soot on their faces. And they have to tell them there's no reenactors in that museum. And so we started there, and so far conducted about 7 full-blown investigations there, and I'm still scratching the surface.
Wow.
This place is so haunted, I wrote a book just about that called The Haunted Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania. There's one engineer on a train called the Tahoe 20. It's Virginia and Truckee Railroad. His name is Ralph, and Ralph thinks he's still making runs. And Ralph has a thing for the ladies. And one time, Beverly was up there in the cab, and she was sitting on a jump seat, and Ralph pinched her on the butt to get off his seat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then a few weeks later, I was in there with Kat. Now Kat's a little bit different. She tends to get in arguments with the spirits and stuff. And she said, I said, hey, Kat, I said, look, go up there and see what you get in there. Talk to the engineer. What we want to know is the name of his helper. And I didn't tell her that we had narrowed down to a couple names. So she's up there for a little while, and she is talking to the engineer. And after a while, she starts calling him Ralph, which is the name we had from a different psychic, my main psychic. Yeah. And so she said, Ralph, we'd like to know the name of your engineer. And I don't hear anything, right, because I'm not psychic. And a little time goes by, and she says, Ralph, I'd like to know the name of your assistant here. Not the engineer, the fireman, the mechanic. And so a little time goes by, and I still don't hear anything. Next thing she says, Ralph, it would be only common courtesy to answer a question when you're asked one. And I could see the steam starting to come out of her ears. And then all of a sudden she yells, I don't give a F about your effing train. I'm sick and tired of hearing about your train. I just asked you the name of your helper. Would you please tell me the name of your helper? I said, and at that point is when I said, okay, come on, hon. I think you worked a little bit long enough.
Yeah.
And we had a third psychic confirm the name of that engineer. His name is Ralph.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's just one. We have another spirit there. It's a combo car. It's half passenger and half baggage from the early 1850s.
Okay.
And it's in such bad condition they encased it in steel before they could start working on it. And we went in there and we encountered the spirit of a fellow on the railroad who had died on the railroad, and he got hurt on the railroad, and they put him in that car and they're going to rush him up to Harrisburg, and he died on the way to Harrisburg. And this is all what we got through the psychic, talking with the psychic and the EVPs and stuff we were getting. And we didn't know anything about this, but then the curator in charge of restoration come in and told us the exact same story, what actually happened there, which was what we had already got. And I love that place. And I never go back to the Railroad Museum without stopping at that Tahoe 20 and saying hello to Ralph, although he doesn't answer me.
Right. But you got to say hello to Ralph.
Yeah, he's
like when we go back to the VA hospital before they end up tearing that place down, which I hear they're going to. I visit the one room, and the one spirit in there. Me and him became kind of buddies.
Oh, yeah.
Now the guy that helped us get in there, that worked for the VA hospital, he's an ex-Navy.
Yeah, so am I.
Yes, I'm Army, so. But he goes to Joe, because we found out his name was Joe. He goes, Joe, are you former Navy? Oh, that set him off big time. He went nuts. You effing squid.
Yeah, there you go.
And he did. every time he would speak, my K2 meter would go nuts. And on the spirit box, Angel was catching him cussing the dude out. So finally I went, Semper Fi. Hey, Jimmy Trick's out there. Hey, Jimmy.
Uh-huh.
He became my buddy for that.
Mm-hmm.
He was a non-vet. We found out he was a non. And he was happy being right there.
Mm-hmm.
He kept saying he's effing crazy because he was in the mental ward of the hospital. And I don't think he was crazy. He was just wanting the drugs.
Yeah.
But he ended up dying there. So the thing is that we go, would you like to move on with your family? Nope, I'm staying here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We're not going to force you. You can't force you to move on. And then we're getting ready to leave the room and go on down the hall. I said, Donnie, would you want to come with us as we go down? We keep conversing, or you want to stay here? Here. Okay. You want me to come back? Yes. Okay. Well, we haven't got back yet, but I want to get back because that place is so awesome, Ed.
Oh yeah.
God. Well, you say
talking about someone who doesn't want to cross over. It reminds me of a young girl, the spirit of a young girl, up at the old railroad station in Erie, the old Pennsylvania station up in Erie. It's now been changed over. It's a microbrewery in there now.
Yep.
But back when it was in its heyday, a young girl was going with her father and her mother. I can't remember what her name is right now, but they're rushing to meet a train, and they're running up a flight of steps to go up because the trains came in on the upper level.
Right.
They're rushing up a flight of steps to get there to the train. The father's carrying a suitcase, and he turned to ask her, to make sure she was keeping up. He bumped her with the suitcase. She fell backwards down the steps. They're concrete steps. They're marble steps, and she died.
Oh.
And her spirit lives on there. Now, lots of spirits of kids don't want to cross over because they're having too much fun.
Right.
And she's having fun. She was there during the heyday of the railroad trains, and then through the 30s and the 40s and the 50s when it started deteriorating, and when it was all just homeless people there and urine all over the place and everything. Then it got gentrified, and that level where the trains used to come in is now all attorneys and engineers' offices and everything.
Yeah.
And down on the ground floor of the main rotunda is a microbrewery. It's called Eritz Brewery. And
because of her.
No, not yet. No, that's because of Erie. Just Erie Brewery. Okay, but she comes through and it's real upscale. I can't afford to eat there. Okay. But she comes through the dining room and she will stop at the tables and she'll say, like to a lady, your earrings are really beautiful. They match your eyes. Or she'll tell a guy, oh, I see you're having this new way of steak that the chef is making. And then she moves on. And people will say, what a cute little girl. I wonder where her parents are. And they tell her, well, she's not really there. Well, the brewery adopted her more or less as a mascot, and they've made a beer in her honor. It's called Apparition Ale.
Oh, wow.
And it has like a picture on it. And I was able to take a picture of this actual step she fell down. And in the picture, I have a shadow figure. I'm not sure it's her, but there's a shadow figure in the picture.
Oh, man.
And that's in my book. I forget which book that's in. Oh, that's in the Hudson Railroad of Pennsylvania book. Yeah. He can come in.
The old Butler VA hospital used to be a tuberculosis hospital for the eastern United States. Northeastern. Oh, look. Oh, beautiful.
Don't eat my hand. Yeah. He's helping me.
Behind me.
He's helping me with the podcast.
Yeah. My guy's laying behind me he was just up here slobbering on me, but then he went and laid down. But yeah, it used to be a tuberculosis hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And I never knew that. And we were asking why she was there because her parents are still there. Next thing you know, she with the divining rods, was using that, asking questions with it, and she would answer it and he'd say, "Well, is your parents here? Cross them if they are. They crossed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, point toward where is your parents in spirit here? Cross them if they are. She crossed them. Can you make these point toward your parents?" And the things went toward the door.
Oh, wow.
Across the hall. I went, "Oh my God, the parents are here too." And that's how we found out. Her dad was the head of it. The mom was a nurse there, and they all caught it. And the girls used to play there, and they all caught it. But it was just weird, the stuff we find out, Ed, and it's
There's a place up in Nazareth, PA, where the Moravian children would stay there during the planting and during the harvesting, and it was like a combination school and dormitory and everything for them.
Right.
And at one time during the late 1800s, TB swept through there and killed just about all the little kids.
Oh, wow.
And those kids do not want to cross over. You go up there, you do an investigation up there, you talk with them. They're having fun. They're playing. There's no adults around there telling them what not to do or what to do and stuff, and they just have a ball. That's that's like the girl I was telling up there in Erie. But one of her tricks is, I told you the second floor is all lawyers' offices and stuff like that. What she'll do, she'll stand inside the door, and when people walk down the hallway, she sticks her foot through the door to try to make them trip. Because they'll see the foot, and that's all they'll see. And then when they stumble, she laughs. You hear her giggle.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome to catch.
Yeah. They're just having fun. They want to have fun. Yeah. There's nobody telling them not to have fun.
I know up at Conant Lake Hotel, me and my wife went up there for a radio station doing Rock of the Ages, which was different music from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. An hour for each set. We get up there, and there's a book on the counter that says Haunting of the Conant Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
This before I knew it was haunted. So my wife says, "I got to have the book." Okay, I'll buy it for her. No problem. Turn around. Yeah, she's reading through the book and that. We go to the show there. It was great till they hit the 90s and 2000s music. I didn't care for that. We go back to our room. Now, you've probably been up there to Conant Hotel, haven't you?
Yeah, but I haven't done an investigation up there.
No. But you know how old the place is inside and that.
Yeah, when I was young, I used to go up there to the amusement park.
Yeah, when it was an amusement park. Oh, my God. It's a shame what it is now. But we turned around at 5 in the morning. I woke up. I said, "I got to go to the bathroom." My wife goes, "Well, give me some coffee." I said, "It's 5 in the morning. I don't care. I want coffee." They got coffee out in the lobby area.
Yeah.
In there, the check-in desk. They said you can get coffee all night long. So I went to the bathroom. Then I went and got her coffee. I'm getting the coffee. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw someone go past me. Tell them, "Look, where are they?" And it looked like they headed to the door. I went, "Did they go through the door?" I go through the door. I'm looking out on the veranda porch, and it was going on and on and on. And it was like, really? I couldn't believe it. Nothing's there. But you can feel the presence.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and my wife's sleeping. I said, "Here's your coffee." And there was a ghost out there. Good. Tell me about it later. I'm going back to sleep. So, yeah. that got me fired up.
Mm-hmm.
And it, the different experiences you get, though, it's just nuts.
Oh yeah.
And that's just crazy. All right, lay down, Atlas.
Where'd Ruger go? Oh, he left.
He got him over here. Now he's back under this side of me. Got to be close. But how many books have you written so far?
In the paranormal field?
Yes.
Let's see, 10, 11. There's, let's see, 9 books in my Haunted Pennsylvania series, plus another book that I wrote in the paranormal area. Then I have a young adult novel that I wrote, and some spooky stories, and a couple others. I've written like 17 books altogether, but about 10 or 11 of them is in the paranormal field.
Right.
Yeah, you can check them on my website. www.ekelemen.com, ekelemen.com, and they're all available on Amazon.
Yeah. Check them out, people.
Yep,
Check them out.
Haunted Route 30 is 50-some locations in order from Pittsburgh through to Philadelphia. Ends at City Tavern in Philadelphia. And then I got Haunted Route 22, starts in Pittsburgh. And there's 60-some locations go through to Stemmy's Tavern out in Easton, PA. It's funny. They both start at Point State Park, and they both end in a bar.
End at the bar. That's what we count on.
Yep, and there's Haunted Railroads of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I have Pennsylvania's Haunted Churches and Cemeteries. The funny thing about that is the first 3 cemeteries that I investigated on, and for that book, the stories about them were bogus.
Oh, yeah?
And I'll tell you something conflicting about cemeteries. Most cemeteries are not haunted, and all cemeteries are haunted. And I say that because cemeteries are a place of repose. The spirits aren't haunting that place so much as they will somewhere where they have trauma or extreme emotions. There's no extreme emotions in cemeteries, but you get a lot of residual hauntings in cemeteries. You might see the shapes around the tombstones and stuff like that, but you cannot interact with them. But some of them do have that. There's a cemetery up in Altoona, and I can't remember the name of it right now. I'd have to look up in my book, but it has a cypress tree in the middle of it. And the cypress tree was planted by the daughter of the guy who founded the cemetery. And there's no cypress trees in Pennsylvania, so I said, I got to go see this. I want a picture of that tree. So I took a ride up there, and it was wintertime. And there was also some local lore about the spirits of kids playing among the tombstones. So anyhow, I go up there. I want to get a picture of the tree. But I get out of the car, and there's little footprints in the snow around the tombstones. And they don't go out to the road. They're just around the tombstones. I said, I got to get a picture of this. So I get my camera, battery's dead. Put in new batteries, battery's dead. Put in new batteries, battery's dead. Oh, the hell. I would go into town, buy brand new batteries, come back out, and I take pictures of the footprints in the snow. And I got pictures of the tree. I come back home, downloaded the computer, no footprints in the snow in the pictures. And I put it in the computer, it was just plain old snow. So I don't know if I was seeing things or if it was just spiritual footprints or what, but it was kind of creepy.
Wow. Now that's I know about the cypress tree. I heard that when I was living up there in Indiana County.
I think that's called Bachman Cemetery.
Yes.
Yeah.
As soon as you said about the cypress tree, I went, yep, I know about that tree.
And I'll tell you another thing about spirits and ghosts. If you have to jump through hoops to see a ghost, there's no ghost.
That's right.
Okay. One of the ones is at the Horseshoe Curve. Colleen at the Horseshoe Curve.
Yep.
Colleen was a wife of a guy who worked building the curve. They came over from Ireland. They were going to save their money and open and get a farm. Okay. He was about 21, 22. She was about 18 or 19. And they came over. And one day coming off at the end of the day, and they had like speakeasies all along the railroad. going back to their little tent camp, tent town. And one day he got in a bar fight and he got killed in a bar fight after working all day. And Colleen lost her mind. So every day she would wait at the bottom of the hill for the workers to come down off the hill at the end of their shift and waiting for her husband. He never showed up. Well, they finished the horseshoe curve, I think, in 1854. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was 1854 they finished it. Yeah. And the workers moved on. But she stayed there, and every day at sunset she would wait there for her husband to come down off the hill. Okay, and she died of exposure when she was about 21 years old. Her spirit hangs on there, and sometimes you can see the shape of her spirit waiting at the bottom of the hill, off to the side of the little funicular they have there, the little cable car off to the side of that building, waiting for her to come down. That is the true story. The folklore is, you drive up, there's a tunnel there. You drive up to that tunnel at 10 minutes to 12. I have no idea what 10 minutes to 12 means, but at 10 minutes to 12, and you flash your headlights 3 times, honk your horn 3 times, and she'll appear. No, she won't. No, she won't.
We did it wrong. We did it in the wrong order. We did something wrong.
Yeah. If she's going to appear, it's going to be around sunset. And I have no idea what 10 to 12 means. There's so many. There's a graveyard up in northern up in Pennsylvania. Supposedly, if you walk counterclockwise around the guy's tomb 3 times, he'll appear. No, he won't.
Yeah, no.
I like the one out in Fort Letterkenny. There's a graveyard that's completely inside Fort Letterkenny. It says if you walk the perimeter of this cemetery 3 times between midnight and 6 in the morning, you will die. Okay. Now, one time around that graveyard is going to be about 1.5 miles. So you're going to be walking through the woods 3 times in the middle of the night. Yeah, you might die. You might die. Of exhaustion. At least I would.
Exhaustion or falling over something.
Yeah. There's so many funny folklores.
Well, up here in Sharon, we got the Oakwood Cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
We do have a gypsy queen buried there. Back in the early 1900s, they were traveling through Sharon, and she died.
Mm-hmm.
That still was the largest funeral in the city of Sharon ever.
Oh, wow.
And they did have these gypsy guards hiding near her grave because all the trinkets and the jewels and the coins being put on it. And people still say they're there watching her stone. No, they're not. That lasted for 10 years only.
Mm-hmm.
And people still say they see her spirit walking around the cemetery.
Hey, Meg.
No. I have yet to be able to confirm that one.
Yeah.
It's just old folklore.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of those. I'm working on a book right now about Pennsylvania lore that's more urban myth than lore.
Yep. A lot of myths.
Mm-hmm.
Hogback Road up here is supposedly haunted too. A friend of yours and mine, Tony LeBorn, did a small article in one of his books about Hogback Road. That I do believe there's some hauntings out there because there's been some horrendous accidents there.
Oh, yeah.
So, a good friend of mine, his sister got injured there. She ended up dying a few years ago. She ended up paralyzed, but
oh boy,
a couple of people died in that accident. She lived. And so I believe that there's hauntings out there. There's spirits there.
Oh, yeah.
Any old town you go to, anywhere in Pennsylvania, it's such, one of the oldest states. Yeah. You're going to have spirits.
Yeah, well, like I say, and most of it will be residual hunting, where you might be able to see them, you might be able to pick up some EVPs, but you cannot interact with them.
Exactly.
It's like it'd be like you're trying to interact with a hologram.
Yep. And that's like the old train station downtown here on North Main when it was the Eagles Club. And when Mike bought the building and started renovating it, his workers saw this lady on the second floor carrying a suitcase walking on now past them to go out to the trains. And, you know, I believe that, but that's residual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah, Gettysburg is famous for all the residual hauntings. You'll
Yes.
be walking along by the high water mark or something like that. You'll see a guy walking by here in a fantastic Union or Confederate soldier uniform.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great set you got there. You know, where'd you get that? That's so authentic. And they just don't even talk to you. They just keep on walking. They fade away.
Yeah.
And that's it's like just imprint on the environment. There's lots of that in Gettysburg.
Yes. And you can feel a lot there at Gettysburg. I was only there once, 30, maybe 40 years ago, in that span. And you can feel presence there, but yeah. But like you said, residual.
Right.
Yeah. And I get it in some argument because I say about how old these towns are. You're going to have spirits of some sort, and people get upset with me for it. Why? It's true.
Yeah.
You know.
Yes, it's just the way it goes. There's you just kind of so much of that kind of stuff. Another one that I liked was up north of Williamsport. I forget the name of the town now. I don't have my notes with me. But there's a railroad crossing. Now, supposedly, way back, a school bus stalled out on a railroad crossing. And the school bus driver had the kids all get out to push it off the railroad crossing. And a train came by and killed everybody.
Oh, wow.
And to this day, if you go up there, now that this probably happened during the daytime, right? But you have to go up there now after midnight, park your car on a railroad crossing, turn your lights off, put it in neutral, and the spirits of the kids will push you off the railroad crossing. Well, it's not going to happen. And there never, ever was that kind of an accident in the state of Pennsylvania where a train hit a school bus. The only one I know of that's similar to that happened down in West Newton years ago and killed some kids. And but it has nothing to do with being pushed off the railroad crossing. That exact same story is also told about a railroad crossing in eastern Pennsylvania. And, it's the folklore stuff,
Yeah.
And it's also the bit about getting up there after midnight, and I don't know, they didn't say anything about a full moon or anything, but that's the folklore. And I kind of enjoy some of these folklore because the way they come up with these stories, I just wonder about it. There's over in near Windsor, PA, Crum Cemetery, and the spirit of a young, I forget her name, Denise. I'm not sure. I think it was Denise Crum. Okay, supposedly she was treated as a witch, and they hung her for being a witch, but they hung her outside the cemetery because they didn't want her on blessed ground. And so then supposedly the mob was still upset about that, and they went down into the town of Crum and burnt down her family's house. And they were still upset, so they burnt down the rest of the town too.
Oh, wow.
None of it ever happened. None of it ever happened.
Yeah. Okay.
There was never a girl with that name. And the reason was they suspected her of being a witch because she could do she did cures and stuff like that, and did midwifery and that kind of stuff. And they suspected her of being a witch, but it never ever happened. Okay, the town of Crum was bought in 1915 by the Burr Wind Corporation. Now the Burr Wind Corporation is just a twist on Windber. They switched the syllables around. Instead of a Windber, Burr Wind. Okay, and the Burr Wind Corporation was a mining company. They bought the town because they wanted access to the stream that ran through it, and they used it as an aquifer for a nearby town for fresh water. and they bought all the buildings in town, gave people fair trade price for it, and everything else like that. And then they gave the people the opportunity, if they wanted to dismantle their houses and take it elsewhere. And when that time period ran out, they just demolished the houses. And so there never was a fire or any of this other stuff. I just get a kick out of these things. I don't have no idea where these stories come from. It's, usually come from idle teenage minds, but
Yes, very
That's
much
okay.
so.
Yep, that's okay too. It's
I was
the,
getting ready. They come from us sitting around a campfire as kids making up stories.
Oh yeah. I like the Green Man. Okay, there's people to this day still have all kinds of stories about the Green Man. Okay, his name was Ray Robinson. Okay,
Yep.
and I met him. I met him a long time ago. Okay, and they also call him Charlie No Face was another nickname of him.
Yep.
When he was about 12 years old, he was a ball or something went up in a tree, and he went after it. He came in contact with a high tension power line, and it was so powerful it instantly blinded him, blew off some of his fingers, and melted the skin on his face.
Yep.
And it gave his body a green tinge. Okay. Now Ray used to support himself by selling coin purses and wallets that he made by hand that he would sell. And he frequented the area over in Beaver County. I forget the route number. Okay, but he used to walk along the road with 1 foot on the pavement, 1 foot on the cinders. That's how you would know that he was staying on the road.
Yes. Route 151 or 156 or
I think 156. I'm not sure. But anyhow,
going toward New Galilee.
Yeah. Anyhow, the thing is now there's a tunnel in South Park Township, south of Pittsburgh. If you drive up to that tunnel at midnight, I don't know what it has to do with midnight. You got to drive up there at midnight, and again, flash your headlights 3 times, honk your horn 3 times, and the Green Man will appear for you. And you know what? He was never within 50 miles of that tunnel.
No.
No. He was just a nice old guy that supported himself. Yeah. He just didn't look good.
The young teenage boys, he liked to drink. He loved the taste of beer. And the young teenage boys used to give him beer all the time. Then they pick on him.
No, they wouldn't pick on him so much. The local kids would protect him against the kids that would pick on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the nicest guys.
Yep.
The first time I saw him, I was just a little kid coming back from the New Galilee Fireman Festival. Yep. And my dad's driving us back home, and I look over, and there he was. Talk about scaring the hell out of a young kid. But
I saw him back in the like the middle '60s.
Yeah.
And I was visiting out that way. I was out in Hopewell, which is that's right out there too.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Hopewell, Aliquippa.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of the nicest guys, and different stories I heard people say about him, and I got it. I got mean and ignorant with them. I said, that's a crock.
Yep. It just looks different, and that's they made a whole big story out of it.
Yep. Everyone does.
I'm glad I don't hear any echoes or anything now. We finally got this figured out.
Yeah.
It only took us half the show.
That's all. But I'm glad we figured it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going on 8:00 now. And I do want to say something not pertaining to all this, but next March 29th, 2025, we are having the Penn Ohio Paranormal Conference again. And I believe you're coming. Am I right, Ed?
I'll be there. I haven't sent in my paper yet, but I'll be there.
I
know that.
Yep.
Save me a spot because I'll be there.
We're moving it this year 6 miles west, right into Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
But we can get 300 seats instead of 100 seats for the speakers in their own room. We don't have to draw a curtain.
Yeah.
The 100 to 150 vendors we can get in there. It's just going to be, and I'm going to advertise it as the largest Western PA, Eastern Ohio, West Virginia Cryptid and Paranormal Conference. And Ed was one of our first speakers at the first one.
You remember when I took the stage? Remember the power was out?
Yeah, and the power came on when you walked.
I walked to the edge of the stage. I put my hands up like this. I said, "Let there be light." And I'll be damned, the power came back on. And everybody went, "Ooh, he's got powers."
Then we all turned and looked at Dan and said, "It's all your fault it went out."
Yeah.
Dan Hagman. Oh, but yeah, I was waiting for the power to come back on for your PowerPoint and that. Yeah. And it's like, and then you said, "Well, I can do it without the PowerPoint." I said, "Sure. Well, let me get Dan down. He's up there for an hour and 40 minutes already." He was too.
He was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a good time, and I'm very happy to have all you there.
We always have a good time. Even this past weekend when it rained and the wind was blowing and it got cold, I thought I was going to be snowing before much longer time. But it was a long day, but it was a fun day. I was exhausted the other day.
Yes. But next year, we're coming back bigger and bigger, and we're going to be doing spotlights on our vendors. Of course, we're definitely on our sponsors. I just got 2 more vendors today, last night and today.
Wait a second, Ruger, settle, sit now.
She's 8 months old. She ain't going to settle.
He's bothering my friend in here right now. Oh, he slobbered all over your pants. Look at that.
But yeah, we're going to be doing the spotlights on our vendors, which I got 2 more that last night and today already. Oh, okay. So on top of the ones I already have, got a few sponsors already. It's like, this is going to go big. Yeah. And thanks to you to get me started with it.
Oh, all right.
Being one of our speakers, that'd be the kickoff first year one. And I do appreciate that, Ed.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah. Wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. But anyhow, it's going a little after 8. I have to go check on my wife. Make sure she's okay. Since I'm in the office out back.
Oh, okay.
I moved it out of the house finally.
I'm in the office up in my second floor here.
But all righty, I will talk to you guys later. Ed, thank you again.
Sure enough, anytime.
And that's her trying to get a hold of me. So you all take care. Have a good night.
You too.
This has been an Agents of the Unexplained original podcast. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe and view on YouTube. And please visit our store link in the bio. Thank you for listening. And remember that paranormal